Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Fab's in the house. And today I have the Reeve Knives Umnumzaan here with me. As usual, we're gonna analyze the look, the sound, and the feel of this big boy. But first of all, let's just do a quick size comparison. Of course, this is up against Sebenza, large Sebenza 21. And let's see up another big boy. This is the Custom Knife Factory Snafu 2.0, Peter Rassenti collaboration. Beautiful knife. Let's see what else we can do, like Benchmade 940-1, so a little bit smaller, and another one in carbon fiber. This is the Manix 2 from Spyderco, so also another big boy, but as you can see, Umnumzaan still bigger. Also a couple more from Spyderco. You've got your PM3 and PM2 right over here. So you know, check this out. Like handle size, it's pretty comparable with the PM2, but you know, you've got a little bit more cutting edge over here. So there you have it. Let's get started checking the look of this guy. So in close position, this is like 4.77 inches. So it's not a small knife, or like 12 centimeters around. When you open this guy up, it's going to be 21.5 centimeters, or like 8.5 inches long. This is an original design from Reeve, made in Idaho, US, of course, and it's you know, it's a classic. This became like something, you know, in the realm of Sebenza classic, something like that. Maybe not that much, but kind of. Colors, you know, you see are just gray because it's just a sand-blasted titanium with some pretty sick S35EN steel for the blade. So overall, gray colors. The lines are very interesting. You've got like basically this straight line. It's not like straight, this like just angles up a little bit, and then you have this not straight but kind of, so there's a gentle curve, so all curves around, but done with an angled you know, approach to it. So you see like this is kind of like edgy over here, and you've got this this point over here. So overall the design is nice. It's nicely balanced, but feels and looks a little bit bigger than the Sebenza. You see, Sebenza has this chamfered edges, but at the end of the day they are almost the same length, but this guy feels a little bit bigger. But it's not a big deal. It's just the nature of the beast. The handles are titanium sandblasted with these nicely milled out grooves in this cross-hatched design over here. So it's something that, you know, it gives like some nice touch to the blade, and just a quite good and strong character for the Umnumzaan. You have chamfering going on all around the edges. You don't feel any sharp angle, except of course for the glass or skull breaker or crusher over here, or you know, this whatever you want to call it. So that's going to be probably the most pointy thing in the handles. Also this one, but it's not really sharp, this guy over here. You have also inner chamfering right over the edge, on the inner edge, so it's very nice. If you rub your finger along these lines, you're not gonna feel anything. It's just gonna be pretty smooth. You have some nice jimping just on the blade, nothing in the back, and it's not like very sharp. It's just it's functional, and you know, it's grippy, but not it's not gonna hurt your finger. Then you know, you have you know, your lock release is like this. You're gonna use this side over here, which is it's functional. I mean, it's not that you know, it's not sticking out that much, so you're gonna have to just get this one. But I don't find it hard to you know, unlock. Maybe if you're wearing gloves, it could be harder, but it's not a big deal. This is a frame lock, of course. I mean, Chris Reeve invented the frame lock, which is just you know, integral with the handle, so that you cut out this bar, which is going to become, you know, the lock bar, and it's going to be bent through this internal lock bar relief in order to be contacting the tang of the blade and just locking the blade in place. This mechanism is a little bit different than the Sebenza 21, for example. This is like the Sebenza 31 because it's employing like a ceramic ball detent, which is just amazing. I mean, there's a little ceramic ball right at the edge of the lock bar, which is, I don't know if you can see, it's right there, which is in direct contact with the tang of the blade. So that will eliminate completely the lock stick and the need of a detent ball ramp, because the detent ball is also the lock face. So you see, there's no hard step. It's a natural detent ball ramp because of the nature of the design. So it's a pretty clever solution right over here, and that's why they employed this one also in the Sebenza 31. You also have like a lock bar stabilizer over here. This is a Rick Hinderer design. So they're employing basically this disc, which is anchored to the handle, which is going to prevent you from overextending the lock bar and then, you know, having a dangerous knife. So it's a great idea right over here. Chris Reeve is including Allen screws to disassemble the tool, which is like straightforward. You have pivot, screw, and you're done. You just open it up and, you know, you can maintain it in a very, very straightforward way. If you cannot put it back together, you can send it back to Chris Reeve and they're gonna be happy to reassemble it at no cost. You're just gonna have to pay like shipping cost. So the screws are like, you know, classic Allen screws. You gotta receive the tools to disassemble that. You know, they're not proprietary and they're sticking out a little bit, but I like them. They're not 100% flush, but you know, it has a nice feeling, and they're almost completely recessed into the handle. So very, very nice. Something that I'm not really a fan of is this pocket clip, guys. I really dislike this one, not from a functional point of view, mostly from an aesthetic point of view, and just because it's gonna give you a little bit of a hot spot right over here. I mean, it's functional, I get it, it's nice, yes, but I don't like it. It's too simple. It's just a slab, you know, bent with this shape, which I think it's you know, just cutting corners, and I would have loved like some you know, 3D sculpted clip, like for example, you know, Millet Clip is doing something like this, you know, for the Sebenza and the Umnumzaan, so it's gonna work. This is matching the carbon fiber, but doesn't matter. But I mean, it's something that I would like to see improved in the future, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Pocket clip is titanium as well, sandblasted. It's tip up only. It's not reversible. I mean, that's the only place you're gonna be able to place it. Knife is not ambidextrous. They are selling lefties version, so basically it's like you know, you're gonna be able to, you know, open. You're gonna have, sorry, the lock on this side instead of this side, and I mean, yeah, build quality, it's phenomenal, of course. Like, what are you gonna expect from Chris Reeve? Blade centering, it's gonna be dead centered all the times, and you know, materials employed are gonna be top shelf material, and you're not gonna have any issues. Check out, you know, the nice detail of the standoff over here. Very, very nicely machined, and with incredibly tight tolerances standoff. Of course, you have your lanyard hold over here. Usually it comes with this lanyard tube, which in the newest version is shouldered. Like as you can see right here, it's just not like a cylinder like in the previous version where you had to like keep a piece of paracord and burn the ends to let it stay there in order to avoid the lanyard tube from falling out. So this one you can just remove the lanyard here and just place this guy back in, and it's not gonna fall out. So that's a nice improvement over here. If you don't like the lanyard, you just can just remove it. It's not gonna affect the solidity of the knife in any way. So let's check the blade. This is a Tanto blade. You can also order like a drop point, but both are going to be in S35VN stone washed steel, which is pretty nice up there. 58 to 60 HRC in the Rockwell scale for hardness, so pretty good treatment over here. You're not gonna, you can't go wrong with this kind of steel. This is a Tanto style blade, and it's very nice. I'm usually not a fan of Tanto blades, but in this case I really like the design of this one, because the stock thickness is a little bit on the thick side, but it's well proportioned for a knife of this size, so it makes 100% sense. The tip, it's very nice. It's thin right over here at the end, but quite thick, so you can still scrape and pry 100% with this guy. The grind type is like hollow. Which means it's not like flat, and it's gonna be a pretty nice slicer because of the geometry and the nature of the hollow grind, which is gonna be 100% symmetrical. The edge symmetry, it's spot on. The design of this blade is beautiful. The yokote, it's like this line over here, and it's just simply great. I like this arc that it's doing over here, and it's beautiful. You have all belly, so there's not really like a flat edge over here, and you have your nice sharpening choil, which, look at this, guys. This is pretty thin behind the edge. It's nice. And you have the plunge grind, which is this line over here, which is hiding a little bit, the ricasso underneath the handle. And then here you've got your thumb stud, which has, a nice O-ring. We're going to see that in a moment. And then, of course, nice jimping going on. It's very, very nicely executed. This is almost, it's like a thumb ramp. You're gonna be having your thumb in a pretty comfortable position. And then you have this divot over here, which is exactly, look at this guy. It's like designed for the thumb. It's gonna be sitting here super comfortably to achieve greater precision in your carving job. So very, very nice. And then you have this this wedge a little bit, going on down here. It's not like really sharp. It's not like chamfered and rounded off like here. So here is a little bit more sharp, and then it's gonna end up in this beautiful Tanto tip over here. You have these thumb studs with the O-ring, which are gonna be also functioning as stop pins, which is a clever design. So they remove the need of an internal stop pin right over here, and they just are using this guy, like for example your snafu, all right, thumb stud acting as a stop pin, so no need for a stop pin on the inside. Also, you have no billboarding on the blade. You just have your Chris Reeve knife logo over here, and the Idaho made right over here, which I'm not a fan of this font, but it's there. It's like it's always been there, except for the first production model, which they didn't have this kind of engraving right over here. The handles are not skeletonized, but on the inside you can see that they engraved the quarter and the year of production, so you can always date back production date for your knife. So let's check out some sounds of this blade, because it's a pretty peculiar sounding blade. Like let's see the opening sound. Let's hear. This is nuts, guys. Okay, so if you do it stronger, it's gonna be like this. If you do it slower, it's gonna be like that. So it's almost inaudible. It's muffled. If you do it fast, it's still listenable. It's soft and sweet, and you know, you have this dampened sound of the rubber gasket or O-ring just hitting, you know, this part of the handle, which has a divot right over here just to better allocate. You see, it's perfectly designed to allocate the thumb stud with the O-ring like that, and it's gonna dampen the sound like crazy. So that is beautiful. It almost feels like you didn't lock the knife in place, but it's not gonna go anywhere, guys. This is a pretty solid lockup right there. When you close the knife, you're gonna have the classic, you know, almost tinkle, clink, chimey sound that Chris Reeve makes, because yes, this is beautiful. It's louder than actually the opening sound, which I love. And in between, you're gonna have this very attractive rubbing, whirring sound of your washers just rubbing up against the titanium and the steel. So very, very nice sound. I appreciate that. Probably it's tough to translate, you know, in a video, but I can assure you that in person is just phenomenal. Let's check out the feelings here. So when you handle the blade, you know, this is a pretty big blade over here. It's quite comfortable. I had to say that this clip here is creating a hotspot for me, so it's digging right here. So something that I'm not a fan of. For example, the millet clip, it's much better, I think, and there's no hotspot in that one whatsoever. You don't have really like sharp corners or sharp edges in this one, except for the lock release tab. Let's say this guy over here, it's a little bit sharp. If you squeeze that much in an advanced position, you're gonna be, yeah, a little bit feeling that, but not a big deal. Jimping also, it's not too pronounced, but it's functional. You have it, it's not gonna let your thumb slide up, and it's gonna work pretty nicely. Of course, like, you can also do a beautiful reverse grip because you have a full handle and your thumb is gonna be perfectly placed at the heel of the handle, so beautiful. And you know, I mean, overall you can also choke up because you have this beautiful divot up here, so holding the blade like this is gonna feel like extremely solid and robust in your hand. Texture, it's grippy because you have these grooves milled out, so it's gonna feel securely stable in your hand. Fit and finish, guys, it's a Chris Reeve knife, so you cannot expect anything less than perfection, I have to say, because I owned several Chris Reeve knives and I've never experienced any sort of fit and finish issues, no gaps. I've never seen any blade play. The only thing I don't like is just the clip, because it's just me. I mean, clip ramp, it's functional. There's a nice springy action. Clip retention is gonna be good. It's gonna keep absolutely the knife glued to your pocket, so it's good to go. It's just that design, like an aesthetic look that I'm not a fan of. Also, like the feeling when you open the blade. Come on, guys, this is one of the smoothest guys ever to deploy, because it's I mean, it's slow. You can still, like, you know, flick it open like this, I can't really do like a spidey flick because it's too hard, but you just, you can, you see, sometimes, yeah, you can, sometimes you can. It's a little bit harder to do, your thumb flick. You can just do two hands deployment. It's not going to be like a flipper, like, whipping out like a boss, because it's not running on bearings. It's just washers, and it's slow, but who cares? The smoothness is insane. It's like you grease up with some lard, like two marble slabs, and you just rotate them. So it's better than glass on glass with olive oil in it. I don't know. It's just that smooth. It's beautiful. Also because, the technology inside used for the pivot are phosphorus bronze washers with some pockets on the inside just to hold the grease, which is gonna be kept exactly on the holes inside the washers. Therefore, it's gonna be lubing and smoothing the action as you rotate the blade around the pivot. So brilliant idea. Overall, I'm a fan of that. Also, detent strength is perfect, and having the ceramic ball like that, it's just a pleasure to open and to feel the blade lock in place, because it's just gonna slide down like following the the rounded edge of the sphere, which is the detent ball right there at the contact with the tang of the blade. So it's beautiful. Like this feeling here, it's like when you close a Rolls-Royce door, I don't know, something like extremely fancy, well-designed, muffled, dampened, inobtrusive, 100%. Also, you have the blade is pretty recessed down. You're not gonna be able to touch it, even if it's borderline. Like you see, you can just like a fraction of a millimeter before you're going to be able to touch this one. So it's still safe in the back as well. No issues whatsoever there. There's no rattling, of course, so everything is perfectly kept together. And also, like feeling when you're gonna release the lock, this is a little bit pointy. It's not gonna be the easiest, to unlock, but still not a huge issue, because you're gonna be rewarded by this ceramic ball right over here. It's gonna be beautiful, man. It's the detent ball ramp is not needed because of naturally how the ball works. So there's no hard step, but you don't have like any free fall unless you're gonna be polishing the washer or guillotine effect, or nothing, none of that. But yes, there you have it. This was my review of the Chris Reeve knives Umnumzaan. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.